Thanks for your time, Chris. I just wondered if you could answer this question. You say that web video may be starting the greatest cycle of learning since the printing press. What leads you to say that?
If you look at what the options were for someone a few years ago who had a great idea or who wanted to share something with a student or someone, but basically they had to write. That was the technology that's available. It's scaled. We all know the impact that the print revolution had on the world. What web video has done is that it has allowed a more powerful form of communication to scale, namely, human to human, eyeball to eyeball communication. So much of real communication is non-verbal. You can do a lot with words, with the printed word, but there is something mysterious, magical, incredibly powerful when a group of humans watch another human teaching or speaking. They see things that the text alone can't convey. And for the first time in history, that type of communication can scale from one person to millions.
And so what does it mean for that kind of innovation? Once you've gone past learning what we know now, where does it, do you think, take us for what we don't know?
So what we know about innovation is that it happens when ideas collide. It's not really so much, the lone genius in his or her room, having this eureka moment. Innovation happens when ideas collide. Someone gets influences from over here and from over here on the other side of the world, and they put the pieces together and something sparks and they get excited. And this is why the same ideas often pop up independently all around the world, because they are out there and their time has come, and they kind of collide in different people's brains, and you have these aha moments. But the important thing wasn't so much the aha moment, it was the fact that these things were colliding. So what this connected world that we're in now allows, and what online video allows, is for those ideas to collide much more dramatically than ever before.
Do you see any obstacles on the way? I mean, you're very optimistic about the crowd innovation with web video. It's just, what obstacles are there? Are there governmental, corporate, individual obstacles on that way?
Yes, I mean, there's numerous obstacles. Certainly, some governments don't like web access of any kind. Probably the biggest obstacle, though, for most of us is just literally distraction. There are so many distractions online that it stops us looking at perhaps the stuff that matters. And we're all undergoing this giant social experiment of what it's like to have an infinite amount of information. It's kind of the same problem with sugar and fat. We never evolved an off switch, and so a lot of people around the world are gorging on all this interesting stuff, and it's easy to lose yourself, doing non-productive things. I actually think that's one of the biggest obstacles.
Oh, I think in one of your TED speeches, you talked about web video, hoping it wouldn't just be puppies and porn. Why won't it be?
Well, I think it won't be because people get excited by the meatier stuff, by the by the more interesting stuff, the more substantive content, and it's interesting. It happens because we have these networks of friends online. Often, just if you're just browsing the web and you've got all these distractions I'm talking about, it might be quite hard for you to actually go and listen to something serious like a lecture. But if an email comes in, or you see one of your friends on Twitter or something saying, "You have to watch this. It is mind-blowing." That changes things. So you take the time, you look at it, and you get excited. And so I think part of what I'm excited about with TED, and it's actually a big surprise, is that there really is a large global community out there that wants to spend time listening to teachers, acquiring knowledge, being curious, getting into a better sense of how the world really is. That was really unexpected. No one would have guessed that people would spend hours and hours watching, lectures on the internet, and it's been a delight to see that is so.
What do you think the rise of web video means for traditional media companies, which have been one to many, And now with the rise of interactivity and social networking and web video, it's many to many. So what does that mean for the way we get our information through traditional sources?
I mean, there's definitely, all the rules are changing, and it's not clear what it will mean. I think traditional media companies need to be quite thoughtful, quite nimble, and willing to take a few risks to avoid getting left behind. But most great media companies have great brands that are trusted and can play a really important role as curators, arbiters, as a sort of source of critical mass. They can bring people together. They can make their users, their audience, they can recognize them. So they can extract the talent and recognize the talent in there and expand their reach. I think the days of a media company being, a group of highly paid people who sit in a room and produce great content and then pass it out, I think that's over. I think it's a much more dynamic situation now, and traditional media companies need to think of themselves as dynamic catalysts of communication, and they need to see their audience not as a source of attention and money, but as key co-creators of great content.